It's estimated that every year 1 in 4 pregnancies end in the UK in miscarriage, something reality TV star Charlotte Crosby sadly knows all too well.
Yeah, back in March, Charlotte discovered that she was pregnant with her 3rd child, but at her 8-week scan, she learned the tragic news that she had experienced a silent miscarriage. She joined us now alongside Dr Sara. Lovely to see you, Sara. Charlotte, thank you so much for coming in. We're so sorry that you've...
I know, it's getting... I feel
of course
a bit emotional,
it is.
but I think it's just because, I don't know, let's just keep going. I'll try and get through.
You've been through so much, and talking about it, I had no idea that the statistics were that high. 1 in 4 ends in miscarriage, but I'd never heard of a silent miscarriage either.
I hadn't heard of it either. I didn't know what one was until it happened to me, and I didn't know they were so common. And I think of worrying for any woman that might have one. You start to think, oh, is this it now? Might I not be able to have children? And listen, I am so lucky. Yeah. I have got 2 gorgeous children, which we spoke about before in the past. But you do get that worry, don't you? But I think Dr Sara was telling us just backstage there that actually it's completely normal and it doesn't affect any chances in the future.
No. And it was a surprise pregnancy.
Yeah.
You weren't really trying.
Yeah, we weren't trying. It just happened, and obviously I got very scared. When I saw the positive sign, I was like, wow, I didn't sleep. I found out at 11 o'clock at night. I didn't get to bed until 4 in the morning because I was just like, am I going to be able to cope? Yeah. That was one of the worries I always had, like, do we have 3? Is it going to be crazy? But then they melted away and we started to get really, really excited, as you do, and all the worries melted away and we're like, we'll manage. It's another beautiful little person to love and it's going to be amazing.
And did it feel like a normal pregnancy? Because obviously you've got 2 other gorgeous little girls.
Yes, yes.
Did it feel normal to you?
It felt completely normal. That's the craziest thing. I was even being sick. I had some morning sickness and all of the hormones were there, and it was just so normal. I would never have known any different.
So when did you go for your first check? And when you got your first check, was everything okay? And then was there something that happened?
So I went for my first scan at 6 weeks, and basically it was just a different atmosphere. I've obviously been through this twice before with 2 successful pregnancies, so you kind of know what to expect once you sit down, but it was completely different. They didn't switch the screens on for you to see straight away, and the room was very quiet, and I just instantly thought, oh, I feel like something's wrong. There's just been a lot of silence for a little bit too long. Right. What they said was that they weren't seeing what they were meant to be seeing on the screen, and they reassured me that it's quite common and I could have just came a little bit too early, got my dates mixed up, and it could be like the case of over 48 hours it would all change. But they couldn't scan us for another 2 weeks, so I had to go back in 2 weeks and just hope for the best.
How was that 2-week waiting?
The longest 2 weeks. It felt like it was going in slow motion. It was just dragging. And I was worried. I think after that initial scan, I kind of knew something was wrong, whereas my partner was being really super positive and he was like, it's going to be fine, honestly. But I kind of knew in my heart that there's got to be something wrong here.
And so you went back for the scan at 8 weeks?
Yeah, and the doctor confirmed that it wasn't an active pregnancy. I'd silently miscarried, which I think I'm right when I'm saying this is when the body just doesn't realise it even had a miscarriage yet, so it doesn't let go of everything naturally and it just stays there.
I can't imagine how heartbreaking that must have been at that moment for you and for Jake, just to sort of realise that something had gone so tragically wrong. Sara, where is a silent miscarriage? I mean, as Charlotte's described it.
Yeah, so silent miscarriage is also known in the medical realm as a missed miscarriage, and it's when your pregnancy doesn't continue to develop, but your body doesn't immediately recognise that, and so it tends to be discovered on those first scans when the baby either doesn't measure as expected or there might not be a heartbeat there.
Yeah. And for me, when I read your story, you then had to wait to undergo a procedure. How long was that period of time?
2 weeks. And I feel like it was kind of given just in case it was going to come naturally. So in them 2 weeks, it was the worst fear of, like, I would go to bed and I would kind of think, oh, what if it's going to happen? I've never had a miscarriage. Like, I would go to bed thinking, oh, it might happen through the night. And I was worried about the pain. I've obviously got 2 young children.
Yeah, I know.
So I felt I was going to bed and waking up every morning, thank you.
I know.
Just quite scared and, like, worried of what it's going to feel like. And how will I cope? My partner works. He's got quite a busy job. He's away a lot as well, so I just didn't want it to happen when I was on my own. It didn't happen, and I did have to go for the operation, but it was that 2 weeks of every day it was on my mind.
It's also, I think, that really, really hard thing that women try and do, which is to just carry on.
Yeah.
Especially when you've got 2 little ones as well. It must have been so hard.
Yeah, it was. It was just a constant worry, like, is it going to happen? I just was really scared for that, and the pain, if it hurt and stuff like that.
You'd had an ectopic pregnancy as well previously, hadn't you? So you've experienced that sort of strange physiological loss.
Yeah, that was, and I don't want to measure them on scales of what's hard and what's not, because they're both awful things to go through. I'm just so lucky I've got 2 gorgeous girls. But with the ectopic, because I lost my actual organs, like I woke up from that operation and I'd lost my fallopian tube, and because of that, that felt like I hadn't had any children then, and I was really worried about the chances of getting pregnant moving forward. So that was a really big worry, but I feel I'm in a better position now. Like, I've got my family. I would love to try again for another baby. After finding out I was pregnant, I got really excited, and I think it is something that I definitely like.
And how's Jake?
Jake took it really, like, it really affected him quite bad. Like, he was really sad for a long time and would just cry quite a lot. And I felt bad for him, because I think for men, you don't really... I think there needs to be more for men who take things like that, like, quite... Yeah, more support, definitely.
Well, I mean, the other thing is he's watching his gorgeous partner go through this really heartbreaking physical moment of loss as well. He's got the emotional loss, but the physical loss, and he can't do anything to help you. That would be so difficult. I mean, what's lovely is Charlotte and Jake are very excited about the opportunity to maybe actually have that third that you were nervous about. And we understand, Sara, that actually there should be no reason why that's not perfectly possible now.
Well, look, as we said, you know, miscarriages are sadly really common, 1 in 4, and what I think is so important to stress is that they are unpreventable in most cases. It was nothing that you did or any woman out there has done to do it. In most cases, especially in those early pregnancies, it's a chromosomal abnormality, so the baby just couldn't develop. But despite knowing that, you know, it can still lead to those feelings of guilt, grief, anxiety, isolation. And I think if you are feeling any of those things, it is really still important to reach out to your GP, reach out to the early pregnancy unit, to charities like Tommy's and the Miscarriage Association. But know that most women do go on to have future healthy pregnancies.
I think that's the bit that's so frightening, is the unknown bit, the silent pregnancy. But because until you know what's happening, you can't come to terms with it.
Yeah, of course, and it must be such a big shock, because you've got to remember that your body still felt pregnant when you went to that first appointment for that first scan. You had all those high hopes, and then you get that enormous shock associated with it that you wouldn't normally get in a typical pregnancy, where you have the typical bleeding and the cramping and you have an idea of what might happen. It's this big shock, and I think it requires a lot of support.
You're always, Charlotte, you're always so open about your life. I mean, we've seen the shows that you've done, and it's always so wonderful to see you sharing so much of your life and being a mum and a partner and all those things. And I think that's probably... you sharing this news again is going to be so important for other people, because you heard someone talking about it. Is that right?
I was sat at home and I was going through it, and the main worry was, does this mean that maybe I'm not going to be able to have another baby? And then I was watching the Furies reality programme.
At Home with the Furies,
and Paris spoke about hers, and honestly, all of a sudden, I just felt like all of my worries disappeared, and I was like, she went on and she had more children after that, and actually this must just be so common, and it made us feel so much better. So I thought, if I could do that for even anyone at home watching, I'd feel like I'd done something good.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And you've just been celebrating with your beautiful family.
Yes, my birthday.
Your birthday?
Yeah.
What were you up to?
We went to this lovely lodge where there was loads of animals. We got to see all the animals. It was amazing. It was really nice. It was really nice.
And how are the wedding plans going?
So after all this has happened, we've decided we're going to kick ourselves up the butt and we're going to book it. We're with the wedding. We're going to view the wedding venue this year, I think, and we're just going to get it booked.
You're actually going to go for it.
We've got to go for
Yeah.
it. It's
Yeah.
booked.
It's going to be booked.
Well, look, thank you for coming in.
Thank you.
Being so
Thank you
honest
so
and being
much.
so you.
Thank
because
you.
that's exactly why we love you.
No,
and
thank
sharing
you.
that news
Thank you.
and sending lots of love to you and Jake and the girls as well.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you,
Thanks,
Sarah.
Sarah. Thank you.
If you've been affected by anything we've been discussing, you can find helplines, as usual, on the ITV website.